All right. All right, we're gonna do sternum and ribs. We'll look at the bony thorax. We'll start with the lateral sternum, do the RAO, and then we'll move into like your general study of the ribs, which are typically done AP. So we'll do this really quick. Go ahead and put your left side up against the board if you would. Lateral sternum shot at 72 inches, center about mid-sternum, arms extended and locked behind the back, chest out, and on inspiration. So that's the way it would work. So I have my patient approach, put the left side against the board, go ahead and put your arms behind your back, and then I'm just gonna take a look. So the top of the sternum is gonna be the notch. We're gonna collimate in to a 10 by 12 lengthwise. So if I have that box above the notch, I'm gonna be fine. So then I'm gonna move and center like that and just kind of comb down to those heights. But when I look at that, if you notice, her xiphoid is going to be lower than this, so I don't feel like I'm low enough. So I'm checking the boundaries that way. This would be better. And I'm gonna set a straight technique for this. I'm gonna straight time because it's a small bone, which means AEC is gonna have a hard time getting me an accurate technique. So go ahead and stand up nice and tall, raise your chin up. And I'm gonna look at the wall of her thorax. I'm gonna imagine that and then angle a little bit with it. Okay, now I can see that. Now I need you to take a big deep breath in, deep as you can. Pull your arms back, chest out, just like that. You see it there. Hold your breath, beep, breathe and relax. Okay, so that would be my lateral sternum. We just really want to make sure, I didn't look at the marker when she was breathing. Was it in there? Was it in the anatomy? Okay. So when you guys are doing this, just make sure your marker's far enough anterior that when they take that deep breath, it's not pushing their thorax or their sternum into the marker, okay? So that would be how I would do my lateral, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the RAO. So man, if I could have you turn and face the board. We come in to 40 in our room. In practice, it says do 30, but we don't have a 30-inch detent, so it's not gonna be a thing for us. So come in a little bit closer. I'm gonna step to her other side. I'm gonna mark upper outer right side, all right? When I do this, it's a shallow oblique. And my real way of doing it, here, step back and I'm gonna show them a couple things, is I'm gonna palpate her notch again, okay? And I'm gonna line it up with my center cell and then rotate her, okay? So I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm gonna move my bucky so that this black box is above the level of her jugular notch, just above it, okay? And then I'm gonna line up to my bucky, and then I'm just simply gonna rotate her shallow, so like that. It's very little, it's not a big oblique. And then I'm gonna make sure her sternum is directly over my center photocell, okay? And I know that's hard to see from over there, and I'll show you in lab, but it's very basic. So it basically puts you an inch lateral from the vertebra, and that's how your text is gonna say it. But it's a really fast and simple way of positioning. However, these are never going to be the prettiest pictures. They're just awkward. So we'll do a breathing technique on this. Just breathe normally, and we'll do a long exposure, and hopefully blur the ribs out enough that we can see the sternum. Okay, go ahead and relax. That's our sternum. Now our rib series, I'm gonna step past you, is shot at 40 inches. And remember the rules we have. Now, in practice, again, most facilities are going to do AP only. So we'll go ahead and do AP, or we'll do AP series of left ribs, okay? So ma'am, standing with your back up against the board if you would, just like that. I'm gonna put this box above, and then I'm gonna set it to my box, all right? And open my collimation up fully, again to 14 by 17. I really only collimate on these for pediatrics, okay? Step to your right are really small humans. So we could collimate on her, but I'm probably not going to. Now remember, 1.5 light above the shoulders. That doesn't work on everyone, but it's a good starting point. Halfway between mid-sagittal, lateral border. So that's about where I'm at right now. Put my marker up here, bring your arm out away from your body, taking a big deep breath, as deep as you can, hold it, beep, breathe, okay? So that's simple. Now I'm gonna do my oblique. It's 45 degrees, so I'm just gonna say, okay, turn towards me, about halfway, perfect. Bring your arm out away from your body. Now on this one, if we center midway between, the only danger is on really big people is we clip the articulation with the spine. So in practice, what I do is I oblique them, and then I pull them over until the shadow, and I pull their clothes tight, or gown or whatever, tight on here, so that their shadow's near the edge of my cassette. So every now and then I might get the other side, but I prefer that rather than clipping the spine. Does that make sense? So you pull them close here. Then again, raise your chin up, take a big deep breath in, deep as you can, hold it, beep, breathe and relax. Now that I've done my APs, now I've done my upper, stay just like that, and I'm gonna do my lower oblique. And I'm gonna come down, and on this one, I'm gonna cone in to like an actual 10 by 12 on this, so it's a crosswise cassette, okay? I'm gonna come down. Now I poke on her crest because about a few fingers above that is her lower rib margin. So in your book, it's gonna have you midway between the xiphoid and the lower rib margin here. And you'll end up about there. But again, so I palpate the crest and I go a few fingers above and I know I'm good. I'm gonna place my marker at the bottom of my crosswise 10 by 12. Okay, so like that. And the oblique's the same. So then there should be a space between the bottom of the ribs and the crest. That's where my marker's gonna end up. And then blow your breath all the way out. Hold it out. Beep. Okay, relax. Now I want you to turn, put your back up against the board. My height should pretty well be set, okay? So then I'm gonna bring her arm away from her body and I'm gonna use the edge of my black box here again to determine where I go, like that. Blow your breath out, hold it out, breathe and relax. And that's ribs.